Hi there, so this is some stretches we can do for your thighs on our mat. Now, our thigh muscles go over our knee joint and across our hip joint. So we want to sort of get the thighs to stretch with emphasis on either end. So this is one that I connect into my rocking box sequence. This is where I set up in a nice box position, hands, two hands further forwards. I breathe out to sit down. I need to know what I'm doing with my sternum, my breastbones. There's a beam of light shining out of my sternum. I take the beam of light along the floor. I'm going to take that beam of light to the wall. I'm going to bring it up the wall. As I stabilize the shoulders, my hips can fall forwards. And I start to stretch out the front of the thighs. And then out breath, sitting back. Keep your arms active. Keep your chest lifting, keep your heart lifting to allow a strong shoulder girdle for your spine to hang from and your hips to travel through and back down. So that's one way of starting to think about your thighs. So from this position, I'm going to take us into a belt assisted sequence. I'm going to pop the belt around my foot. I'm going to lie on my back frontally and I'm going to bring that belt through. Just need to adjust it on my foot. That's it. So across, and then I can find my stretch with the belt having to give me a bit of a thigh stretch. That's one way of doing things. Again, holding the stretches for that type of stretch for anything between 10 and 30 seconds, 3 times sets. Another way of doing that stretch is to actually just do it lying on your side. So I'm lying down, just trying to be comfortable. Bottom knee is forward, ankle backwards, just to give a little bit of stability. And I'm going to take this foot, notice how my hip rolls up though, and I'm just bringing the heel of my foot towards my hip. Again, that gives me a very good stretch. I feel it much more lower because I'm more organizing the stretch now at my knee. But again, I'm getting that good thigh stretch. Okay, I can do that on the other side. For me today, I prefer the sideline. Sometimes I prefer actually lying on my front with the belt. Again, it's not one's better than the other. It's just what's working for you. Just sometimes what works quicker for your choreography. Do you have your belt to hand? Again, I can do this for 30 seconds, 3 times each side. Okay. So more traditional ones are the half lunge exercise. But it's very important to know how to control your pelvis through this sequence. So this is where we need to know how to put our pelvis into posterior tilt. Again, so I want to think about how do I angle my belt buckle up the wall to put me into a posterior tilt. As I go into posterior tilt, it takes my front hip bones, my ASIS, away from my knee joint. So with my belt, you can see, that gives me my length through the thigh. I'm going to set slightly on the angle so you can see better. I'm going to take one foot forward, okay, and then I'm going to think, where am I with my pelvis? I'm going to go into posterior tilt. It brings in my proximal abdominals, and again, that gives me my stretch. I'm not pushing my hips through. I'm doing the exercise by going into a posterior tilt, bringing my hip bone, my ASIS away from my knee. I'm not pushing through. I'm just going into that. I'm going to go to the other side. I'm going to be a little bit more side on for you. So I have to think which leg I'm going to work. That's it. So this one comes forward. I want to go into my posterior tilt. There, I'm going up through. Notice I'm on my mat, so my knees are comfortable. I can hold this one for 30 seconds. Second variation we can do when we're into that exit movement pattern, into our split lunge. I can take it into a bit of a side bend. So I've got my organization, I've gone into my posterior tilt. That's where I want to get that length. I'm just going to bring my arm up and reach slightly over to the side. Keep lifting this rib cage up, out, and back down. So I might do that 3 or 4 times. Again, just feeling what's right. Again, depending on your body, how you're connected. That again might just give us a little bit more organisation. The other version is to take both hands out and then twist towards the knee that's forward. So sometimes just adding that little bit of twist towards the knee can give us a little bit more stretch or organisation through that thigh. So I'm just going to swap sides. So from here, again, try and make sure you go into posterior tilt. Again, bringing the front of your hip, the ASIS, away from your knee to get that length. I can add a bit of a side bend, a little bit of a lateral movement pattern. Again, trying to make sure I don't collapse down, but I'm actually lifting the ribs, growing the spine as I go into my side bend. And again, I might want to just slightly rotate the thoracic over towards the bent knee. That might give me a little bit more stretch. I feel that a little bit more on my inner thigh as I rotate. Again, each person's going to be different, but those are some ideas for your thigh stretches. Thanks very much. As usual,